Hi, this is B. LeGrand, and we're here with Jason, creator of Jayden's Juice. His son has Dravet syndrome, and he's here to tell us a little bit about his story. Can you let us know how you got to using CBD and creating your own branded product?
Yes. Thank you for having me first. Jayden was born perfectly fine at 4 months old, started having seizures, went on a downward spiral, started being prescribed a lot of pharmaceuticals, 12 different medications. We're given rescue meds, Diastat, a rectal injection of Valium for whenever he has seizures. He'd have seizures for an hour, hour and a half. He would have myclonics all day long. We were at our last resort. We're down to the last three medications. They're called the Magic 3. We're going to these meetings across the country called Dravet syndrome meetings from Dravet Foundation and stuff like that. And I noticed the first ones I went to, I would just listening to them, and they were telling us use these pharmaceuticals, Magic 3, it's Depakote, Clobazam, and Stiripinol. And if you use it, your kid's gonna be magic. It's gonna be fine. Well, really, the magic thing about it was our kids survived those medications. What happens is it was a honeymoon phase for a few months. Things got worse, and we're at a life and death situation. Jayden was dying from those medications. So it was April of 2011. Jayden hadn't slept for a few months, for 2-3 months, and I was very desperate. I was losing it myself because can you imagine not sleeping for one day, let alone every day?
Yeah.
He was crying, screaming in pain from the pharmaceuticals, and next thing you know, I had to make a decision to make a change. Everyone has their own faith. I have my faith in God, and He showed me a sign that Jayden to get Jayden cannabis, and I tried. I got it. After I got it, I held it for 2 weeks. I was scared to give it to him because there was no other parent out there, no one talking about cannabis for children yet. There was a Cash Hyde, actually. Cash Hyde was the only one I've heard of, and that was with cancer, not with epilepsy. Plus, Jayden was on a lot of pharmaceuticals, so there was no one really doing it for epilepsy. So I got it, and I had it for 2 weeks. I didn't use it yet. Everyone was scaring me at first, and then I used it on Jayden, and it worked. The first day I gave it to Jayden was the first day he ever went seizure-free in his life, after having seizures every single day of his life. And after that, I went back to get another bottle from this dispensary from Harborside, and I got the same company's brand, and had the same thing. It says CBD. There was no percentages, ratios, nothing. No one knew anything about that at that time. This was 4 years ago, and I went to get it, and I gave Jayden this. After I ran out of that batch after 4 months, I went and got the next batch, and I gave it to Jayden. It wasn't working, so I realized something was wrong, and no one knows this part of the story. But I hooked up with Dr. William Courtney. Dr. William Courtney is probably the best world-renowned medical marijuana doctor in the world. He's cured cancer for a little baby, for an 8-month-old baby before, so I could trust this guy. So I go to him and I talk to him, and he tells me about ratios, percentages, getting tested, which most of the dispensaries didn't know at that time. So I went and got the medicine tested, and I found out there was no CBD in there, even though it said CBD in there. And it was the same companies and everything. So what I did was I started researching. I came across Dr. Courtney helped me find plant material. He helped me find the flower, and he also helped me find the plant. So we're getting the medicine, and we're giving people we're getting people to make it for us. There was a company here in California called Alta California that made my medicine for me for a few months, for I'd say about 6 months. After 6 months, and I got him into the front page of the LA Times, he told me he's not going to make my medicine for me anymore, and left me hanging. So after that happened, I was very desperate. I came across some guy locally. He'd seen me at a restaurant and said, "Hey, I work with cannabis and I extract medicine. I'd like to talk to you." So I had the plant, and I had plant material because I was at that time I was buying an ounce for $400. I was buying half pounds for about $2,800, and I was just testing, trialing, erroring. I was getting donations from friends, from church to help me to get the medicine and figure out the ratios and stuff. So I give it to this guy, and I give it to about 10 other people. These days everyone's a cannabis expert, if you've noticed. And I give it to about 10 different people, and everyone screws it up except for one guy. He makes it consistent every time, and he was extracting it too. Not just he was growing it, but coincidentally he was not just growing it correctly and leaving it at a 20-to-1 ratio, 30-to-1 ratio, and in between there, everyone else was going down to a 2-to-1, a 5-to-1, a 3-to-1, a 10-to-1. They're ruining the plant because CBD is not like THC, and we're using whole plant. We're not using hemp. Hemp is for ropes. It's for materials. It's not for medicine. It's like the garbage of the cannabis. I feel like, because we've tried hemp before and it didn't work for my son. It made his seizures worse. Jayden's worst seizures ever was on hemp, actually. He had 9 grand mal seizures in one day on hemp. So, but everyone is different, you know, so it's not one size fits all. That's why there should be different components out there for everyone to use. There shouldn't be one component legal in any state.
Yeah.
This plant is not half evil and half good.
Right.
You know? So so after that, what I did was I started working with this guy, and he started making medicine for me, and it was working amazingly for Jayden. And I started weaning Jayden off the medications. And during the process of the wean of the medications, I started using different components, because CBD doesn't work during the withdrawals. So I started using THC, and that was fantastic for withdrawals, because Jayden was suffering, having like anxiety attacks. He was having tremors. He was seeing things. And the more CBD you give, sometimes it enhances those withdrawals, especially with benzos, because they go through the same liver channel. So what I did was the THC was working amazing, and then he makes the THC. The people that make Jayden Juice make the THC for us, and they also make a THCA product, and that's what we're using right now is our THCA. The THCA is non-psychoactive either. What it does is kind of like juicing the plant, and for us it works amazing. And what I noticed with CBD, which a lot of facts aren't out there, everyone just talks about CBD now. It's a new thing because they've seen it on TV, and I think there's a lot of strategies on TV that doesn't show the whole thing, but you need the whole plant. The reason why is because there's different times in someone's life that you might need different components, and not just that, after a while someone gets used to it, so you have to change things around. You know, we've been giving Jayden cannabis for 4 years now, so we used CBD, we use THCA, we use THC, we use CBDA. And what we've done too is we've extracted with different bases. So we've used olive oil, we use grapeseed oil, we've used MCT oil, we use coconut oil, and it's all different. So we have patients that are using, some are using CBD and coconut oil that are doing amazing, and some that are doing horrible. Then with the same plant material but extracted with something else, with like olive oil, they're doing amazing with the olive oil but horrible. So everyone's different. So it's very hard to figure it out. You know, it's kind of a trial and error.
How many seizures was he having a day before you started him on the cannabis oil?
Jayden was having, so there's different types of epilepsies and different types of seizures. So Jayden was having about 2 to 3 grand mal a day. They were hour and a half, and they were torturous. And I was giving him diastat. I gave him rectal diastat 40 times in 1 month. I was having problems with getting the diastat from Walgreens or from Walgreens, because they thought that I was selling it in the streets.
Oh my gosh.
I asked my insurance, I'll be like, so you think I sell rectal diastat in the streets? They're like, yeah, people are willing to take it. They buy it in the streets, so we don't know what you're doing. I said, well, my son has epilepsy. He's having hour and a half long seizures 2 to 3 times a day. I keep on giving him the injection because he's getting more and more addicted to it, so he's feeding for that hit. So after that, he was also having myoclonic, so he was twitching 500 times a day, grand mals, and also he go face first, it's called head drops. You have a lot of eye flutters. Right now, after 4 years, I'm weaning him down from 22 pills down to 2. We're only down to the last 2 pills. It's the hardest one to get off, so we're working on it. It's been hard for me because I need to focus more, but this project has been pretty big, so he needs my full attention to take him off the medications, because he's not just going through withdrawals. I'm pretty much going through withdrawals.
Well, so now he's on 2 medications. What medications are he on? Is he on?
Jayden's he's on one kind of medication. He's only on a benzodiazepine called clobazam. We're down to the last 20 milligrams. I have plans to take him off hopefully soon. I just trying to set this project up so I can step back for a while and let everyone else take care of it, so I can take care of Jayden, because he's my #1 priority.
How long does it take to wean them off the pharmaceuticals?
Well, I took him off 20 pills. Took me around 3.5 years.
Wow.
The last 2 pills might take me 1 year to 2 years. It just depends on how his withdrawals go through him and then what we can do to help him. But when I wean him off, the pill is this big, it's 10 milligrams. It's about that big. If I take a razor and I cut off 1/10 of a pill, he goes through withdrawals pretty hard. He'll have more seizures, anxiety, brain zaps, so he'll be asleep and he'll literally fly up in the air and have like weird seizures. And you know, we ask our doctors, you know, what's going on, and they'll sit there and tell us, you know, this is a part of his epilepsy, but Jayden never had these seizures before I started weaning him off. And then when you're weaning him off, they'll tell you, well, see, your kid needs it. And so what I did was I went and talked to other people that were on these medications, and they were saying they were still having brain zaps 2 years after being off the medication. They'll have them, not every day, but out of nowhere it'll come and go, and it'll hit them. So I know it's a part of the medication withdrawal process because the receptor's rebuilding. And then you could look it up. It's called a benzo withdrawal syndrome. It's very, very dangerous, especially for a child. So,
Tell us about the support groups that you used to go to for Dravet syndrome and epileptic kids.
I used to go to a lot of different support groups. Actually, that's where it really got blown up. And Paige Figge had contacted me and asked me about it because she seen me on TV, and she heard me going to the different groups and fighting, and they did their thing in Colorado. And I was going to these Dravet meetings in different states, and also in the Dravet Syndrome Foundation. I got kicked out of all of them. This is before anyone came out with cannabis, and I was treated very bad. And the same people that kicked me out of these foundations are actually fighting in each state to legalize only CBD because they're brainwashed that CBD is the only thing good for them. I feel bad for these parents because they're not being educated on the whole plant. And the whole plant is the most important thing. There's been a fight for this plant for such a long time. And now that there's products out, people are fighting for different components. And I think that's the biggest mistake anyone can make. You can't go to the same representative and say, hey, you know what, I want to fight for CBD right now. Okay, after you get CBD and it doesn't work or it makes your child worse, oh, we made a mistake, we need the whole plant now. Or what the most parents are doing is they're contacting me and saying, you know what, we're getting back on pharmaceuticals, we're about to have brain surgeries because CBD doesn't work. I ask them, why didn't it work? Oh, we tried this one product and we give up. Well, there's 20,000 different strains of cannabis. There's hundreds and hundreds of ratios. There's thousands of different ways of extracting it. Hundreds of different ways of different bases, like for the base of it. People aren't trying different things.
Yeah.
It's a trial and error.
How do you hope to see Jayden proceed? You want him to be free of pharmaceuticals. How do you hope to see him live with his quality of life with cannabis?
This is what I say to myself, is I'm thankful for every day and every moment. So I'm very happy with whatever I can get, because I've already achieved more than I thought I've ever achieved with Jayden already. So I'll take anything and I'll take everything. What my goal is, everyone always knows this from all the movies and shows I've been in, is to hear him say I love you. He's getting closer and closer, he's trying. I hope to God he will, but I know he loves me. And you know what, actions are louder than words, and he shows more action than how much he loves me, how much he adores me, and how much he needs me. And you know what, I need him too. He's made me the man I am today. And so I'm very thankful for what I do have for it. It made me look, I could have been in a much worse position if it wasn't for Jayden. Jayden's suffering wasn't for nothing. He saved so many other lives, and hopefully changed the lives for so many other children in the future. Instead of cannabis being the last resort, it can hopefully be a first resort, so people don't have to go through what Jayden did.
Do you have any doctors that are on board with your cannabis oil treatment?
Absolutely, yeah. The doctor that I go to at UCSF has hundreds of patients on cannabis. The youngest child is 8 months old, doing really well. Whenever I see him, he always gives me a thumbs up. He says he has a lot of patients that go in there and say they're doing amazing with the Jayden juice. And Jayden juice is not the only cannabis out there. There's a lot of other ones. I tell people about our product because I believe in it, but there's a lot of other products that work too. There's trial and error. It's about finding that right thing. I want to help people. And I've done my best to get the word out, but there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of marketing out there that's misleading people. It's not just Jayden juice. It's not just whatever product is out there. There's hundreds of them. You have to keep on trial and erroring. Our kids should not suffer. Don't give up. And the things that saddens me the most is when I hear people give up. And I heard a family that's doing experimental drug for a 5-year-old using Fin-Fin. You know what Fin-Fin is? Yeah, they gave up on cannabis because they moved to Colorado and it didn't work for them.
So they went to
Fin-Fin. That's much safer than trial and erroring with more cannabis. It's just scary that people are brain surgeries, cutting out half the brain or adding in a vagus nerve stimulator. This isn't normal. This isn't natural. And I'm not anti-pharma, but some of the things, if you use common sense, it's pretty scary. The facts aren't all out there. I think there's good and bad in everything. So you were asking me about if I go to pharma. I personally wouldn't, again, because we've already went through hell and back and it doesn't work. If I had to use anything else, I'd probably use diet. Diet's probably the main thing I would probably do for Jayden.
What would you say to any of the naysayers of parents or adults that don't believe in medicinal cannabis for the treatment with children, whether that's epilepsy, autism, or cancer?
I get this a lot. I have a lot of patients that are on their deathbed, dying, and their family members contact me saying, please help this person out, it's too late. Please help them out, tell their parents, tell their family members. You can't tell anyone because they've been brainwashed. What I can tell you is, one, put on earth. You know, I've talked to my bishop from my church, and this big thing out there is with our Christian community that everyone's scared of it because we're Christians. Well, if you believe in God, it says in the Bible, use my plant, use my seeds. Don't blame God for saying it's evil. God wouldn't do that to us, you know. And you know, our community is very blinded and very easily brainwashed from propaganda. So you're telling me that this plant is so dangerous but hasn't killed anyone, but everything else that everyone else is using is so okay to use. You know, alcohol kills so many people a year, but everyone's all good with alcohol. You know, it's because of it's because of propaganda what's happening. So what I do is tell people is, try it. If it doesn't work, then I understand. But how if you try it and it changes the rest of your life? Saves your life. You know, I believe in it because I've seen it. You know, when people call me crying and they tell me I owe you my life, I love you, and I haven't even met this person, is because I tried Jayden juice and it's saving my life. You know, it really makes me stronger to fight for what's right. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter if it was cannabis or not. If it was Pepsi that saved my son's life, I'd be fighting for Pepsi. But this is what's saving my son's life, and I see it saving so many others' lives, so I have to fight for it. Because I believe that we should have a right to have this God-given plant. Like, it's been put on earth for a reason. We can't use, so it's against the law to use something natural. And they say they haven't researched it, and it's been here for 5,000 years. But we've researched everything else in the world where we could drop bombs in every other country. Can't figure out this plant that's been here for 5,000 years that show ancient remedies from way back in the day, people using it, but we can't figure it out.
Right.
It scares me.
Where do you hope to see marijuana in 5 to 10 years?
I hope to see everyone access safe access. I think the biggest problem is the safe access. You know, there's in California we have these legalities that are all over the place. There's no regulation. You know, they always say, when I talk to the city council and I talk to police and different people, they're like, well, cannabis is causing all these different problems. Well, if it was regulated and it was done right, it's been legal here for 20 years and we still haven't figured it out.
Right.
It just shocks me. That Arizona already has legalities for it. That's why we're gonna have Jayden juice in Arizona hopefully soon, is because their legalities and the regulations are much more easier.
Yeah.
Here in California, it's just everywhere. And it's sad because the people that really need it can't get access to it.
Right.
The people that are going to get it for the wrong reasons are going to get it no matter what.
Right.
And that's what hurts it for us. It's like you're only keeping it away from the people that really need it. We need safer access. We need better medicine testing. We need more research, like real research, not research from people using it, not from lab rats and stuff like that. We want to know that it's not dangerous, so we want to find out the truth from it. I get it from rats, and they do all these different research and they figure things out, but why not find out from people that are really using it? And I think that's the most important thing, is in the next 5 years is there's going to be a lot more new things. CBD is going to be old. The THCA is the new CBD right now that people don't even know about yet.
Yep.
And next thing, there's going to be another component, CBV, CBN, CBG. And there's so many different new things that are going to be coming out in the near future as the more research we get into it, and more better ways to find better strains that carry different things.
Or find out what each profile of the cannabinoid does to the body.
Absolutely.
In the endocannabinoid system.
Absolutely. And that's what we are. We were cannabinoid deficient. Because the last time we get cannabinoids is when we're babies from our mother's breast milk. So from when we're breastfed till now, if we don't have cannabinoids, then we're endocannabinoid deficient. So that's what's causing all the problems. Diabetes, all our autoimmune disorders comes from that. It's because we're deficient on different things, and one of the deficiencies is cannabinoids.
What scientific research have you found to support the cannabinoids helping with the neurological disorders?
I came across the federal government patent, the 6630507, and that's what really got me into it. It tells you everything. The first time I showed it to my lawyer, he called me and said, I didn't sleep last night. And I said, why not? He goes, that paperwork you gave me, I read it. He goes, I couldn't sleep. I said, why? He goes, that stuff helps out everything. He goes, I have a few family members needing it for this, this, and this, and this. Can you help them? I said, of course I could. And I helped the people get the medicine. But what it is, though, about it is it's scary that it's a Schedule I drug.
But yet the federal government owns the patent on it.
Yes. And then at the same time, they're saying there's no medical benefits. okay, well, what are the medical benefits from benzodiazepines? What are the medical benefits from alcohol? What are the medical benefits from cigarettes? What are the medical benefits from all this different stuff that's out there? How about Red Bull and all these different energy drinks, all the stuff, all the kids that are dying, you know, from this different stuff. Where's, you know, how is that all legal? But this plant is so vicious and deadly and dangerous and evil.
Right.
Propaganda has ruined what this plant could do for so many people. And the saddest thing is, you know, you're going to lose a loved one because they're not going to use the medicine, the real medicine. You know, I hate the word high.
Yeah.
Because we don't get high.
No.
We get medicated. You know when you get high? On a chemical.
If you had one thing to say about cannabis, what would you say?
I say thank God for this gift. I thank God for the gift that bring my son back. Cannabis saved my son's life and actually saved my whole family's life. Because when your child is sick and dying, your whole family is dying. I bring back my son, I bring back my family.
And what would you say to the doctors that don't believe that CBD or THC is helpful for neurological disorders?
I would ask them to do their research. If they really got into this is what I tell doctors. I would say, if you really believe that you want to help someone and you really want to find out the truth, then instead of knocking it, why not researching it and trying it? If it doesn't work, you know what? You could prove it. But if it does work, you need to prove it too. And what I recommend they do is let's comparison. You know, I've asked a doctor before. There's a doctor who had done a PowerPoint at a Gervais Syndrome Foundation meeting about 3 kids smoking joints in this seminar, and he was making fun of me because there was no one out before this came out about cannabis but me at the time. He had made a seminar, and on the PowerPoint had 3 kids smoking joints that were 3 to 5 years old. He said, cannabis is voodoo. This guy's one of the biggest university doctors in Miami. He said, cannabis is voodoo. He said, don't believe in it. These guys are crazy. Their studies are all long. It's all lies. It's anecdotal evidence. It's not true. The kids aren't doing as good as they say they are. So I asked the doctor afterwards, and I said, listen, why don't you bring the kids that you work with that are all in wheelchairs on 20, 30 pills, 40 pills a day, the ones that have brain surgery, that are sitting there lethargic, dying. How many kids died in your office this year? I asked him. 4. I said, we'll show you the kids that we work with. You saw them here today. Happy, smiling, you know, trying to come back alive, you know, recovering, you know. Let's comparison. You know, the video footage is what the real thing is. The studies out there are biased. Mm-hmm. I don't believe studies anymore. Mm-hmm. Because the studies of the Magic 3 that everyone talked about, the Magic 3 and Dr. Gervais promoted and everything, ruined my son's life. I'm sure it wasn't just my son, because I have parents from around the world contacting me saying the Magic 3 is killing their children. So I always tell them, let's compare them. You know, try it. If it doesn't work, you know, if you really believe in it, don't knock it. Research it. Mm-hmm. Try it. See the difference. Why aren't you opening your eyes?
Right.
Did you really get into the medical field to help people?
Right.
Then help them.
Right.
You know, we're telling you it's working. If one person's telling you working, everything else isn't working. Why not try it? That's my approach to doctors.
Yeah. Well, they treat symptoms.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add about using Jayden's juice or how you got to creating it?
Jayden juice is an option out there. We made it so we could help people. We recommend people try it. You know, it's worth a try. If you don't try it, you'll never find out if it can help you. We have a few different products. The CBD one's non-psychoactive. It works amazing for a lot of different people with MS, diabetes, epilepsy, autism. We have patients with cancer using it. And we're not saying it works for everyone. We're not saying it cures anything. What we're saying is it's something out there that might help out with different symptoms and different things. What else I could tell you about Jayden juices? I love seeing the results. I love when people call me and you hear the sigh of relief from parents or people using it afterwards and they tell me, you know what, thank you. You made a difference in our lives. Not just my child's, but my husband's or whoever's around them. They're using Jayden juice to see huge results. I just think that there's a lot of other options. We also have Jayden juice THC for a lot of different symptoms. And also we have Jayden juice THCA, and hopefully soon we'll have other products out too. We made it easy to dose. It's in an oil, so you can take a few drops. Always start at a low dose, move up slowly to find what works for you. No two people are alike, so it's always good to wean on. You know, there's a lot of frequently asked questions I could go after, but the main thing is just it's a trial and error, and everyone is different, so it's not one size fits all, and everyone has to figure out what works for them. They have to read their bodies instead of just being programmed at a milligram per pound type of thing. So my best bet for you to do is start at a low dose and move up slowly to figure out what works. I know everyone wants to find a cure right away, but it doesn't work like that. And sometimes it does. But the most important thing is go slowly and figure out what works for you. Read your body, write some notes, and figure out how it can help you out. You got a lot to say. Done now? You don't know what to say? Come on, get up. Yeah, fist pumping. Come on. Get up. Get up. How do we clap? Yeah, that's how you do it. How about fives?